Miss Reddy, when you visited slums for the first time, were you received with open arms or with lot of cynicism, skepticism?
Well, I would say obviously with a lot of cynicism and skepticism, so I could never hold it against the people who received me with that. The hostility didn't come out of any hate for an individual. The hostility came from a very oppressed environment that they had been living in. The disbelief that anybody could go to them and say that can we work together to make things change. The fact that many had promised and never lived up to it. And even I had come and settled down in Bangalore as a new citizen to this place in 1978. And having lived abroad before that, people doubted whether I really had any credentials at all to be able to work with them or work for them. But and therefore, I was under threat in the early days of my entry into the slums. I was alone. There was no organization. Even ours was formed in 1980. But along with a couple of friends, when I walked in and I realized that there was never a looking back because there wasn't a minute to say that there isn't something to do. And therefore, that hostility gave room to confidence building. It gave room to problem solving. It gave room to making people believe in themselves, a sense of self-identity arising out of the struggles. And it wasn't a one-day job or a one-minute affair. It was weeks running into months, into years, till we began to get what people needed for themselves, which were very basic. It was in those early years when I walked into Lakshmipuram or Sudhamnagar, people had no right to live where they were insecure, and they just needed a little bit of light in their lives. So the first challenge given to me was, can you get us electricity in 3 months or we'll cut you in pieces and throw you there, which was the burial ground opposite the slum. And that burial ground turned out to be my conference hall because we used to sit there in the evenings, have our meetings. There was no other place. The slum was very dense. We couldn't sit there. And from there onwards, we got the electricity in 3 months, fortunately. And people began to believe in themselves, and that's how we took our steps forward. Hostility gave way to confidence building. And for every enemy, we had 100 friends develop. And it really was not about a personal affair over there. It's about how people's lives could change. There was a lot of learning in the process for me too. I never fortunately went in with an ism. That was my biggest strength. And I could learn from the community, which taught me how they could have the strength and the courage to fight back if given the opportunity to open their eyes towards that.
Miss Reddy, any particular individual or a family who benefited the most from the work you do?
Oh, how do I identify one
You
family
can
or
just
an
talk
individual?
about one particular family or an individual.
Uh, I never really counted, so I can't at this point say one. Yes, there are families in Lakshmipuram, which was my very first community, who now say, even yesterday when we went there, they say, today we are living in homes that are part of the struggle that we went through. And to name some, there is Sarojama, a leader who is there now, or there are people like Mary, Anna Mary, and there are people like Mahadevamma in that particular area who have grown old and whose children now are saying the same thing. And Vadalakshmi says, for instance, that she's become the young leader there, or Abli in Lakshmipuram is the youth leader. And they are all saying that we will take charge, we will move forward. And had the foundations not been the way they are, it's just a very simple example. Individually, I think there are any number of people our lives touched. Theirs touched mine and mine theirs. There could have been girls who got lost, girls who were at the edge of not being able to come back. I could quote Kanchana of course, she was in the Andhra villages when I started working. Her family was so caught in debt. It was a weaving community. And they were absolutely being tortured by the moneylenders. But at the end of the day, today she's a young artist of India. She's earning money, gotten her family out of debt. She's married with a young girl. And she's a leader and a member of the committee that's Dwarka Plus today. She owns it to that extent. So there are lives that have made a change and have touched mine deeply. Yeah.
Ms. Reddy, migration to cities usually lead to creation of slums. People live in miserable conditions there. What should be done to stop mushrooming of slums?
To begin with, I think the planners and the policymakers and those who are really taking the call on how development should take place should wake up to the realities. Having worked the first 20 years in urban communities, the next 15 years is now my 33rd year or so was spent in working in villages around in Karnataka, around Chikbalapur, and in Andhra and a little in Tamil Nadu. And I begin to find that the immense potential that lies in our rural areas, in the villages, and in an agrarian potential or possibility is being completely lost and untapped, and we are just not recognizing that therein lie a huge youth power, that employment opportunities can be created right there, that there should be the right policies about land utilization and environmental conditions and so on and so forth, so that everybody has a scope for equitable distribution and access to the resource. If that planning takes place properly, I believe that migration will not entirely stop, because urbanization is a natural trend and it's a flow of things all over the world. But I feel it's even possible if the urban scenario wakes up to understanding how its peri-urban and rural-urban communities are living today and the potential. I believe firmly that a day can come when we can even do a reverse migration, in a sense. To stemming migration, I don't think should be that difficult if the right policies are taken up in the development of the peripheral areas around the city. And while the opportunities are given in the city to the people also, the equity issue is completely lost. And I think that is something that should be, it's really employment people come to seek. And we are leaving behind the potential of just getting some water, some power, and some access to land, and then the capacity to till the land. And we have seen it in Chikbalapur very clearly that women could come together, small amounts of 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs of rupees could bring 70, 80 women who didn't have a tractor to till when the rain came. That's all it took, and some seeds. And they had bumper crops of ragi that kept them going for a year plus. So it's to really see where our wealth lies and to really see the potential in the people and tap that.
So nice, Ms. Reddy.